Hey, this is an audio only show. Play us in the background as you do whatever it is that you do. Thanks for listening and welcome to the Messy Mic. Please remember to like and subscribe. All right, let's get into it. Okay, so this topic is just about Mitch McConnell and his weekend at Bernie's, which is extending over time. He's at a all-inclusive rehab facility and he could be alive or not. They will not tell us at this moment. And with Lindsey Graham, Miss Lady G, out, uh, we could say rip. It doesn't have to be rest in peace. Some people say some worse things, but what does this mean for us? So people want to know if Mitch is alive. If he's not alive, Lindsey leaves a seat open. And it looks like with Lindsay's seats open, it leads for a special election. My question is, are we going to treat this as a fair process? Are they going to actually have a special election? I think they put his sister up for the seat currently. His sister is Darlene Graham, I believe, is, in his seat currently. And the question is, is it gonna be fair? Is it gonna be fair with how they conduct a special election? And a special election, the filing period for a special candidate filing opens up on July 21st, which is just in a few days, for Republicans interested in running for his seat. So his seat, someone can go up for the seat and it will remain open for 1 week, according to the state laws and the Republican Party. But you have to remember that in November, the general election was up and he was the main candidate. So a primary election, which happens before, right? This is who you select for the general election, could possibly be held on August 11th with a runoff if no candidate reaches 50% of the vote on August 25th. And this is according to Political. So the winner of that contest will face Andrews, and Andrews is the Democrat candidate, Annie Andrews, who seemed to be popular or at least easily won amongst the Democratic primary. So he was going to face her in the general election, and now that's up. And but there's no, that seat is up, but there's no word on at this point of how the GOP will play nice with that, and they like to play around with these seats. And why do they like to play around with these seats? Let's just do some basic numbers. Currently, as of July 14th, Republicans have 53 seats in the Senate. I'm not going to focus on the House, I'm going to mainly focus on the Senate. 53 seats in the Senate, and the Democrats have 45 with the two independents in their caucus. So they don't count these independents, but technically they're Democrats, but also technically they're independent. So they don't count amongst those numbers. And so with that being said, we are looking at some slim margins. And then in November, uh, it's looking like 35 seats are up for election in 2026. 33 are regular elections with two special elections. And so with that's a large number of seats, and so this could swing anyway, and that's why there's all this pressure by the current administration because 35 seats are up. So no, this may not be the presidential type of election. This may be more considered for some folks, just the midterms, right? But these midterms are important. So we don't have time to play Weekend with Bernie with McConnell because he is highly influential and he's another seat, but a very powerful seat. And it should note that he sits on agriculture and defense policy. Well, what's going on right now in our agricultural system? We got a boo-boo disease. There's a boo-boo disease going around where we can't even eat lettuce or strawberries or berries. We have a ongoing conflict in the Middle East, and that is defense policy. This is agriculture, and he is one of the most influential voices in the GOP, and he's not here to sit and watch this catastrophe that's happening within the current events, and he can't cognitively. I don't care if you're in a rehab facility, he might be able to read, he could look at a book, he could probably see a TV, but I don't know if he has where his cognitive abilities are, um, at this moment, and his absence could derail spending packages on defense that we have. We have big, vote on spending with this conflict with the Middle East just involving how much we're gonna spend on continuing this conflict. There's also efforts about advancing a farm bill, and we see what's going on currently with our food system, and so these things matter whether you like him or not. He could say, "I don't care," and we could continue having the cord impacts that we're having right now, or he could actually, like, make a couple decisions that curb some of the issues, that we're having right now, and so without that voice on his party, we don't have that. So currently, Senator John Boozman is an Arkansas Republican who chairs the Senate Agriculture Committee, and he talked to political. I'm going to keep saying that on Tuesday, saying he hopes that McConnell can participate in the bill's markup. And why I bring agriculture and what we're going through now, there's just like when you do the agriculture bill, that goes to the USDA. Some of that money may go to FDA. I'm not saying that these are going to have large impacts where we change the system. What I'm saying is these are the bills that add oversight to the food that we eat. So we need them to weigh in on this, especially if they're that influential. And I think what happens in our political realm is we start doing Democrat versus Republican, which is, a conversation that's very much needed. But we need to start digging through how this impacts our every single day. And again, with Messy Mike, Messy Mike, it's already messy. This is messy enough. You don't need to add fire to clout chase to add to the mess, right? To add to um, what's already a contentious administration. And so let's just get to the point of what is at hand. And this farm bill is at hand, and we don't have his voice. And that doesn't mean that these folks can't make decisions like John Boozman. The thing is that the Party really does move as one. And even if there's one dissension, they all rally to pretty much shame the other person who doesn't think the same way as them. And that even happens with the public. Once there is a Republican who may say something very sane, like, I want to see proof of life. I don't think that this is a real photo. That's honest. And we should be contesting what photos we're seeing of politicians at this point since AI is so rampant. And it is not he's not saying anything no one else said, right? And that could be helpful to the party. They could have said, "You know what? Everyone else is thinking this. Let's just figure out what else we can do. Even if the photo was real, let's just up the ante and give some more proof of life." It doesn't help that the rumor was his wife went to China. We don't know. I don't know if that's true or not. But it just doesn't. None of this helps. So adding some additional evidence that he had proof of life would be very helpful. And so I think what we have to focus on at this point is like what should we be paying attention to? Lindsey's gone. He is gone. So that one's a fact. They did not hide that one. It came quickly. No one expected it. He gone. There are 53 Republican seats, 45 Democratic seats, 2 independent seats, right? At the moment. And Lindsey's seat is now up on something that he probably had the bag in South Carolina. And now it's up to South Carolina to decide who is going into our government at this point. And we don't see a front runner on this side and on the Republican side at this point at this moment. And could that be a good thing? Could that be a bad thing? What we don't know, and what I don't know, because I'm not necessarily all informed in the GOP's daily dealings, is who are the rising folks in their party? Because we don't even know who to keep an eye on. They spend so much time on these older folk. We don't even know who to keep an eye on. The youngest person we see is JD Vance. So we don't know who to keep an eye on to know who's a rising star within this party. And I don't think they spend a lot of time cultivating folks to come up in this party. I think they place people. And the Democrats don't as well, but we do see a slight shift in, I won't say younger, but at least people in their 40s who are interested in being uh, who are interested in becoming elected officials. And so what we need to keep an eye on both sides is who are going for these seats as the primaries have taken place and as some special elections may take place in this summer. Um, Again, with Lindsey's seat potentially having one in August. So we need to keep an eye out on who is rising in these parties. And I think they'll be more prominent on we'll have more prominent on who these folks are coming to in the coming days in terms of the general election. So I'm going to wrap this up. I'm not going to waste your time. I just wanted to show you the landscape of where the numbers are lying at this moment. What do we have to look forward to? What are some of the predictions? And just be aware of some of the clout chasing that's going around. And let's just be honest about what is at stake when we're not voting, what is at stake when we're not looking a little bit deeper, because this boo-boo disease is on all the food, and McConnell is in charge of the policies that have to do with agriculture, and he ain't nowhere around. So I think we are due more proof of life from him, a written note, a little raven, a little beacon in the sky. Uh, I don't know, a post. He could do a true social post. I don't know, but he really does need to either lead it or move out the way.